This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Welcome back to I Want That Too, the podcast where Disney merch meets Disney history. I'm entertainment writer Jim Hill, and as always, I'm joined by the lovely Lauren Hersey. And may I add, happy belated birthday. And I'm too much of a gentleman to say what your age is, but, you know, she's a lovely 25. I mean,
25, absolutely.
There we go. So, but it sounds like you had quite the weekend.
Yes, I was just telling you, I just finished wrapping up the weekend by wrapping literal Christmas presents, but I feel like I'm still kind of coming down from the post-birthday high of all the festivities. You know, I have to say, shout out to my husband who pulled out all the stops, and he definitely got me a chouch for my birthday. Do you know what a chouch is?
I'm almost afraid to ask. It's not a chow like the dog, right? What's a chouch?
Oh no,
Okay.
no, it's a chouch. It is it's like a chase, but it would be a love seat version. So it would be like a couch and a chase together.
Wow.
It's very, very interesting. I have to show you a picture of it because
please send me one. Wow, a chouch. I gotta. There's a part of me. My back hurts just thinking about it. I gotta.
No, your back should be thanking you because that's how amazing a chouch is.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So that was my biggest and probably my best birthday gift, but I did have an unexpected gift that came for my birthday, and it came from a listener.
No way. How so?
So remember a couple weeks ago, I was telling you about how my son broke the bathtub, Eric and I are in Lowe's, and I'm like stuck to the Disney aisle, and there was one thing that I loved that Eric was not on board with. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Didn't it involve a phone?
Yes,
okay.
yes, it did.
Okay.
So I am the proud owner of the rotary phone that when you pick it up, I mean, this is a podcast, so you can't see it, but Jim, you can see it. Here it is. Look how cute that is.
Oh, no. Wow, look at all of the Christmas colors. White and red and yellow. Oh, cool. Okay.
So basically, I had to explain to my children what said rotary phone is.
Okay.
But it was a total unexpected surprise.
Oh, that is so cool. And who did you get this from?
Oh, I forgot to mention. Funny enough, it was not just any listener. It was Dave, our podcast editor.
Dave! Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, and you think about it, Dave has to listen to every single podcast we do, and he showed up with my door on my birthday and with this lovely surprise. And oddly enough, I know you don't know this, Jim Hill, but Dave and I are actually birthday twins. His birthday is the same day as mine. We are the same age. We were born at the same hospital at the same day and practically at the same time. How weird is that?
That's
and
freaky.
Dave,
wow.
Yeah, and Dave lived like in the town over from you in New Hampshire. Like, how weird is that?
Okay, when we get you two together at some point, we have to do the Wonder Twins activate thing. I mean, just to check, just you know,
okay.
You know.
And I mean, can we get Scarlett Johansson in on that? Because, you know, it is her birthday too, and she is actually our age. So, I mean, no big deal. We just share a birthday with Scarlett, you know.
I stand corrected now. The Wonder Triplets activate. evade. Okay, what?
There we go. There we go. But thanks, Dave, for the awesome gift.
Oh, well, again, sounds like you had quite the memorable birthday. And, did we do anything to help commemorate the big 2-5, right?
Oh, 2-5. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Well, yesterday, my girlfriend surprised me with like an epic spa day. And while we were out all day relaxing, it was lovely. But as soon as I got home, Lady, my daughter, was so incredibly excited to tell me about the new Rise of Red Christmas video that just dropped on Disney Plus.
Oh, wow.
Did you hear about that?
I saw something about that. That's tied to the latest Descendants movie. Is that correct? At some point, you or Lainey's got to tell me more about this. But first, again, little housekeeping. We got to talk about our sponsor here. Today's episode is brought to you by Touring Plans. And if you're headed to Disney, Touring Plans can help you skip the line, save money, and make the most of your trip. With custom touring routes to real-time wait times and insider tips, they've got everything you need to make your vacation as smooth as possible. So make sure to check out touringplans.com. Okay, so again, I got that right. Descendants, right?
Yes, we're back to Descendants. I was going to say, you are not getting out of this easy. Like, we have to talk about Descendants. Okay, so this is the Red Christmas, and there's this whole new music video, like I was saying, that's out on Disney Plus, and it is performed by Kylie Cantrell, who plays Red, the daughter of the Queen of Hearts, in The Rise of Red. And let me tell you, Deb, it is kind of spectacular. Like, it is a total bop.
Okay, and again, so this is what? It's a quick tie-in. It's not an actual holiday special, right?
No, I don't think that they actually had time to probably do a full-blown holiday special. I know that there's a Rise of Red sing-along that's coming to Disney Plus. The Disney Channel and Disney Plus. So it's a music video. It just dropped on YouTube and Disney Plus. The song is already all over the streaming platforms, like, wherever you listen, like Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. And they're dropping it early, I think, because Kylie is going to be performing this song in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on what I believe is the Lego float.
Well, Disney doesn't miss a trick. And more to the point, it sounds like they're really throwing some weight behind this Descendants Rise of Red.
Yeah, they totally are. And it makes perfect sense. Like, if you're looking at it from like a business perspective, Rise of Red, it was a huge hit. So it's now Disney Plus's most watched live action movie since Hocus Pocus 2. And it had over 33 million views in just the first 12 weeks. So, that's pretty spectacular.
Woof.
And I know, right? So I think that the Red Christmas video, it's just to keep the hype train going, if I had to take a guess, because there's definitely going to be more of this stuff. And Kylie, she's crushing it. She's also going to be performing, not the Christmas song, I don't think, but she is going to be performing in the upcoming Descendants and Zombies Worlds Collide tour that is happening next summer, which my kids are literally begging me for tickets for. It's going to be in Pittsburgh in August, so I'm going to have to probably get around to that at some point.
Okay. And it's interesting to bring that up because, of course, the tour is sort of a follow-up to what Disney did for two earlier, I want to say they called them Disney Channel originals. There were, of course, the High School Musical films, and
that's the OG.
There we go.
That's the first of them.
There we go, and that sent out a tour as well. And behind that was Camp Rock. And the reason I bring that up is there's a wonderful new book written by Ashley Spencer called Disney High, and it's the untold story of the rise and fall of Disney Channel's tween empire. And it actually goes quite in depth into what went on, during the tours and the production of those. So this whole Descendants Zombies World Collide thing, it's Disney revisiting a very, very successful business plan.
Oh, heck yeah. Them bringing back Descendants was, you tell me if I'm wrong, but when Bob Iger was coming back to the company, his strategy has been kind of reviving things that have worked in the past. So we're seeing a lot of sequels, a lot of franchises based off of things that were already successful. And I mean, Descendants was
It
huge, like
was.
absolutely huge. And I mean, they had talking about merch, they had 7 million dolls, 9 million books, and the Halloween costumes have been like top Disney sellers for years. And so it's kind of crazy, like at the level it was. But I think that this Christmas special music video thing, it's just the beginning of more to come with this.
And it's worth pointing out. You're not wrong here about the Bob Iger thing, because the last Descendants movie, Descendants 3, that was 2019.
Yeah.
They had let the franchise lie fallow for 4 and 5 years. And again, Iger comes through the door and it's like, start that up again. So, and more to the point, I remember wandering through the aisles of Target this summer and seeing the Descendants Rise of Red merch on the shelves there. Did Lainey get any of those this time around? She's a somewhat older young lady at this point, so
I know. So she's 14, but she's like her mother. Like, I'm a closet teenage girl. Like, I love that kind of stuff. Like any of these made for TV movies Disney puts out, we're here for them.
okay.
But you have to think, Jim, that like you said, Lainey is older now. And I mean, we've been there, done that. Like, she's been Mouse, she's been Evie for the Halloween costumes. And if they put it out and it was Descendants, I mean, she even had like the little leather jacket, right? But it's been laying dormant for so long now. And I think after the actor's name's escaping me, but after he passed away, some of the original cast, I think it was just kind of a natural close. So now they're tapping into this whole new generation of fans. And one of the songs in Rising Red, they even like poke fun at the original Descendants cast. They say like they call them middle aged, which I mean I guess is not totally wrong. But now what we're seeing is like Lainey, who's 14, she is now bringing in like my little guy Miles, who is 7, and she got my little neighbor Adeline, who's 9, like absolutely hooked. And so like it's it's new. It's brand new to them.
Well, by the way, just a quick side note: the gentleman you were referring to, of course, was Cameron Boyce, and the interesting thing is,
Yes.
we lost him in 2019, and then that's actually another factor here, Lauren, that evidently, out of respect to the Boyce family, they didn't necessarily want to plunge straight into making a fourth film without him.
Right.
But okay, so obviously, again, it's Disney and the massive Mouse's merch machine. So, can you talk about what they did for Rise of Red this time around?
Oh my gosh. Well, listen. So my little neighbor Adeline, cute as Christmas. I mean, after she came to our house and she watched it, she went back, watched all the Descendants movies, and now she's going through all the Christmas catalogs, circling items on her wish list. And so, like, because we started the obsession, I thought, why don't I go and see if I can find something for her for Christmas.
Okay, and what did we find?
Well, listen, there is a ton of Rise of Red merch, but just a couple standout items. So Mattel has the dolls, the normal dolls that you see during the holidays. There's Red, Chloe Charming, there's Bridget, Ileana, and each doll is, I mean, these dolls just get like nicer and nicer and more realistic every year, I swear. But they're dressed in their, typical outfits to mirror their on-screen appearances. But if you're asking me what the like standout item is, now I'm going over to the Disney store, and there is a Sorcerer's Cookbook with Chloe Charming, and the set obviously has Chloe the doll, and I believe she's in like a spell book, and when you unlock the spell book, then the kid that gets it can I think there's stuff to make 3 different colorful potions, just like they're doing in the movie. So super cute. You can find that at the Disney store for $29.99, which I think is it's pretty fair for what you get. And then if you're more of a Red fan who, is the counterpart of Chloe Charming, there is the Red singing doll, and Red is the one that's in the music video I was telling you about. So this doll plays a clip of the song Seeing Red from the movie. That's the anthem that was like blaring at D23 over and over and over again. I'm sure you remember that. It was burned in my head after that. But this doll, it's fully posable. She comes in Red's outfit. And I mean, if your little one is a fan of Red, this is a must-have. So you can get these items, your typical places, Target, Walmart, Disney Store. And given the popularity of the franchise, especially with the recent success of Red and Rise of Red, I would probably go out and grab those items. I certainly would not wait too long for that.
Got it. Though, that said, it's worth noting that Kylie Cantrell, that's the young woman who played Red in Rise of Red, not 2 days ago, when someone asked about the sequel, she said, what I can say is I will be making a trip back to Wonderland very soon. And and went on to say time travel is messy. So I'm sure we're going to have to do some cleanup. And I guess this was teased at the end of Rise of Red when Uma, the China Anne McClain character, said, "You don't think that's the end of the story, do you?"
Right. And that movie, I mean, like, it was, I don't know if you had a chance to see it. It was like a really great movie all the way to the end. And it was like they ran out of time or they ran out of money. And they were like, "But you didn't think this would be the end, did you?" I'm like, "I hope not," because they're just like, everybody lives happily ever after. It's amazing.
Well, okay.
Yeah. It was kind of funny. But, speaking of gifts and the holidays, it would not be the holiday season without some baking. That was another thing we did this week for my birthday week.
Okay.
We're trying to get ahead because we're leaving for Disney on Friday. And when we come back, all the hosting starts. So if we didn't bake the cookies now, cookies would not be baked, period. So it's kind of an event here. We don't really do anything small. But, it's one of the things that the kids really love to do. And they've probably eaten way too many cookies at this point and too much frosting, But we're not gonna talk about that. We'll go to Disney and we'll walk them all off,
There we go. Yes. Nothing like being in 1,200% humidity and walking around. I think they'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it'll be totally fine, But around here, we do like to try to like sprinkle a little bit of Disney into pretty much everything we do, and that includes cooking and baking. I mean, do you guys bake for the holidays?
Nancy is not a baker. I, on the other hand, am famous for my Toll House cookies, which, by the way, it's the recipe on the yellow package. Everyone,
ooh, that's the best.
I know, but everybody, oh my God, these are amazing. What you do? It's like, I followed the bag. I just literally just followed the bag. And just this past weekend for my cousin Maureen's 70th surprise birthday party, I made, what were those? Brownies topped with Oreo cookie crumbles, and everyone seemed to like those. But well, what about you? What is the holiday tradition at the Hersey household?
Well, we have our typical staples. We always have sugar cookies and chocolate chip cookies. And I found a recipe for the world's best chocolate chip cookies, and you put pudding in them, like literal pudding, and they make them real fluffy because the Toll House ones are a little thinner.
They are.
I'm kind of a cookie connoisseur.
Yep.
I mean, the fun fact for later. But something that we try to do in our, house over the holidays is I think that we just scream, like, please buy us Disney cookbooks. And so we try, as we're making all these holiday meals and baked goods and stuff, to integrate things from our cookbooks. Like, you can't see this, we're on a podcast, but I have 3 of the unofficial Disney Parks cookbooks.
Mm-hmm.
If you're buying for me this year, I do not need this one specifically. Thank you, though. Um, so we've done everything from Dole Whips to cattails, Ronto wraps, and our holiday guests have no idea typically what we're making, but it makes us happy.
Oh, got it. I know those cookbooks. In fact, I was just at Barnes and Noble the other day, and it was one of these things, turning my head sideways, and it's like, wow, that's an unofficial Hocus Pocus cookbook.
I saw
They're just
that.
cranking them out, and now we have the Disney unofficial holiday cookbook, which is packed with recipes inspired by the parks, but with a holiday twist. So you get things like what, strawberry red velvet whoopie pies, which Nancy would be mainlining. We have what is it? The Christmas tree donuts. There's 100 different recipes in this thing for some of the very best food items you'll find at Disney's annual celebration. But the cool thing about this book is it's perfect for recreating those park treats at home. And especially if you're one of those folks who can't make it down to the parks at the holidays. I mean, so you're sitting there watching the parade on Christmas Day, and if you're a foodie, you're making this stuff. But shout out to Ashley Kraft. She wrote this book, and by the way, you can find it right now. Again, that's the Disney Unofficial Holiday Cookbook. And it's available at places like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and BAM for under $25.
Not too shabby, not too shabby. So if there is an unofficial cookbook, did I have to ask, like, did we get an official one?
Well, yeah. Again, it's one of these things where it's like, of course, these things come to market basically in the same window of time. But yeah, we got the Disney Christmas Cookbook. Now, mind you, this was created especially more toward kids. So it's got a
Okay.
lot of beginner-friendly recipes with more easy to understand step-by-step instructions, which, by the way, are very helpful for us older males who also bake. But the thing is that, again, it's a Disney cookbook, so you have things like Belle's classic winter porridge or Woody's cowboy chili. I don't know if I'm quite brave enough to try Stitch's Hawaiian eggnog.
Oh, I'm here for it.
Okay, but on the other hand, I think I could go for Baymax's some more brownie bites. But again, you can find this one in the Disney store for $18.99.
Yeah, that's actually, I think, a fairly good deal. And like you were mentioning Hocus Pocus, when I was like looking at cookbooks, because we have a lot of Disney fans in our lives, I think there were like 8 that came out this year. So check out any one of those. I think it would be a win for, the holidays and the people on your wish list. So on that note, I am hungry and I need to get a bite to eat. No, I'm kidding. But so after the break, Jim is going to take us on a trip to the Big Apple to revisit the magic of Disney's Fifth Avenue Disney store and how it kind of became a shopping destination like no other. Stay tuned.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/campaign to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
And we're back. All right, Jim. So let's hear about the Disney store on Fifth Avenue. I mean, it sounds pretty bougie to me.
Well, actually, to be honest, we should probably acknowledge here that on a recent I Want That Too, we spent a lot of time talking about Macy's because, again, we were talking about the Minnie Mouse balloon that'll be debuting in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and that also that they were going to have a Mickey and Minnie store. Not only in the flagship on 34th Street, but also in Disney stores around the country. But Lauren, once upon a time, and this would have been the late 90s, Nancy and I used to start our holidays. We'd drive down to New York City, and we'd go to the flagship on 34th Street. And, you start by, they literally have the old store windows from the 30s. So, which, by the way, just debuted, the new set for 2024, debuted just last week on November 21st. And then, in fact, we still have this photo proudly displayed here at the house. We went with our friends Jeff and Flo Lang to Santa Land. And got online and got our picture taken with Santa. And let me tell you, Lauren, that just like at a Disney theme park, the queue is half the show. Again, as you make your way to see Santa and get your picture with him in his room, you wander through the Enchanted Forest, you meet elves. I mean, it's a great, great time. And in fact, they are starting to do it. In fact, this show goes live on Thanksgiving Day, November 28th. On the 29th, you can go visit Santa at Macy's. And mind you, they're taking reservations right now. You can book you and 8 good, close personal friends to go with you up to 5 days in advance.
Isn't it odd you have to have reservations to meet Santa? I mean, it sounds like Disney.
Well, no, that actually is. And how soon do you think we're going to get Lightning Lane to see Santa? Only $35 to jump the line. But anyway, what we used to do after we went to Macy's, we would then hike God help us, we were younger then, the more than 20 city blocks. We'd go up to the corner of 5th and 55th Street, where we would then go to the House of Disney.
Ooh.
Did you ever get a chance to go to the city to experience this at all, or?
Mm-hmm. Not for Christmas.
Okay. All right. So the House of Disney opened in May of 1996. And for a time, it was the largest Disney store in the world. It was 4 stories tall, had over 40,000 square feet of retail space. And at that time, it was supposed to be just like Macy's down in Herald Square. It was the flagship of this retail chain. And just to sort of put this in perspective, Lauren, the very first Disney store opened at the Glendale Galleria in March of '87. So by the time the House of Disney opens in Manhattan in May of 1996, there are 480 Disney stores. That's how explosive the growth of the chain was. Chain would reach its absolute height the following year in 1997. At that point, there were 749 Disney stores worldwide. There was virtually a Disney store in every mall in North America. And only at that point did Disney realize, oh, crud, we've overexpanded. That we have literally gone beyond where there is demand for Disney merch. And then began this period of contraction with Disney stores shutting down all over the country. In fact, at one point, I don't know if you remember, Disney actually sold off the Disney store chain to the Children's Place network of stores. This was in November of 2004. And mind you, they'd buy it back in May of 2008.
And if you want to learn all about that time in the Disney store's history, we did do a whole show on it. So go back and listen to that one.
There we go. But there's just a part of me that's really sad that at this point, right now, Lauren, there are only 22 Disney stores in all of North America.
That's crazy.
And I remember when there were 13 of them, and that literally we were so excited that there was one nearby in the Pheasant Lane Mall. But anyway, to get back to the Fifth Avenue store, which again opened in '96, this project, the Imagineers worked with the Disney Consumer Products on, and what they did is they took the space where the old Côte Basque restaurant. This was a famous French restaurant in New York City. It was a favorite of folks like Jackie Kennedy and Frank Sinatra and Truman Capote. And what was kind of interesting is that La Côte Basque, they found out that there was roomier space. I mean, they'd opened at 49, but now it's 1995. and they found out, oh, wait a minute, we're on East, 55th Street, but on West 55th Street, there's space with more room. Let's go there. So they decamp from there, and their old space at 55th and Fifth Avenue becomes available, and Disney just jumps on it. Now, the theme of this structure is that this is supposedly the plush mansion that Walt and Roy actually built for Mickey and Friends, with the idea that whenever Walt sent them to New York to appear at like a premiere of Fantasia, which, remember, that was held at what used to be the Old Colony Theater back where Steamboat Willie debuted in 1928. But again, this is where they'd stay when Walt sent them to New York City. So, and as for the structure itself, have you ever watched the show on HBO, The Gilded Age?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Love that show.
Well, this is what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be one of those old turn-of-the-century residential mansions that used to line Fifth Avenue. So as you enter on the ground floor at the House of Disney, you're now in the grand parlor, which you have dramatic red drapes, and what's kind of cool is what used to be an antique organ, that's been turned into a cash rep area. But down here on the bottom floor, close to the front door, is where you'd find the Disney-themed New York-specific souvenirs. In fact, I've still got a keychain that I bought at this place. That's what I got my car keys on. But it's also in the same area that you could find adult merch. Now, if you walked to the back of the ground floor, closer to 55th Street, this is where you found the conservatory, where all of the children's and infant merch was located. We climbed the grand staircase up to the second floor, or if you'd like, you could take the elevator. You're now in the game room, where you have these...
I mean, because Mickey and Minnie have to play if they're in their mansion, right?
That they do. But they also have to... Here is where you find, like, giant statues of Disney characters playing their favorite sports. So you've got Goofy playing hockey, that sort of thing. But here, among those statues, you've got, this is where you can buy your videos and CDs and books. You want to check out the latest Disney soundtrack before you buy your copy. Hey, there's a listening station right there. Go check it out. Likewise, this is where you'd get your Disney home products, your Mickey waffle maker or stationery. Now we head up to the third floor, which was...
Wait, there's more?
There's more! And this is
actually... This place is huge!
Well, no, that's it exactly. It was a mansion. But we get up to the third floor, which is supposed to be the building's attic. And here, you'd love this, okay? Because you go up to the attic, and there's this amazing mural behind the cash wrap that shows all of the Disney villains, with the idea that they're the villains. They don't get to stay down in the comfortable part of the mansion. They've been banished to the attic. And it's like, I want to say it was every Disney villain up until that time. I think the most recent one they had up there was Governor Ratcliffe from Pocahontas. But this is also the home of the largest collection of Disney art up until that time. So as you come to the top of the stairs, there's this amazing statue of Cruella de Vil, giant, looming up on the stairs. But there's also this thing called Automatic, which I guess best way to describe it was an animatronic marionette. And this thing had an interactive console. And what was interesting is that kids were invited to go play with this, while Mommy and Daddy met with the Disney rep and talked about, well, do we really want to spend $10,000 on a Peter Max painting of Mickey Mouse? So it's like, distract the kid. Beyond that, if you went down to the lowest level of the building, where the basement used to be, this is the service quarters. Now, please understand, I said service, not servants, because Down here, for example, there was a travel desk where if you wanted to, you're a New Yorker, you could come in here and book your next Disney World vacation with a travel expert. Or
That's kind of cool.
that is kind of cool. Even better, if you're in town and are having trouble getting tickets to the Broadway musical version of Beauty and the Beast, which at that time is still playing at the Palace Theater, there were cast members there who would get on the call the box office directly for you and see if there are any seats available for that night's performance. And speaking of the folks who worked at the store, the House of Disney employed, at its height anyway, 250 to 300 people at any one time, which, by the way, that's 10 times the number that your typical Disney store at the mall employed. And by the way, the difference between 250 and 350, that's they get closer to 300 during the holiday season when, of course, everybody staffs up to handle the crowds.
Right.
Anyway, House of Disney, yes, it was the world's largest Disney store, but only for 5 months.
What?
Yep, October.
There's something bigger? That's huge.
October 2nd, 1996. The world of Disney opens up down in Florida. And that downtown Disney anchor had 51,000 square feet. That's 11,000 square feet more than the Fifth Avenue store. And by the way, that's since been enlarged, Lauren, so it's even bigger now.
So was like the Stitch spitting at you, like spitting in the face, like, take that, New York?
Well, there we go. And speaking of saying take that in New York, just down the street from the House of Disney was the Warner Brothers Studio store, which had been at the corner of Fifth Avenue and 57th Street. That opened in October of 1993. So it had actually been there almost 3 years before Disney. And these two stores had a really fierce rivalry. In fact, Lauren, you're going to love this story. It's June of 1997. And so for the world premiere of Hercules, which they held in New York at the New Amsterdam Theater, which Disney had just restored to its ultimate beauty, what the company decided to commemorate that occasion is they actually brought the Main Street Electrical Parade, which had just supposedly ended forever, had blown away forever, from Disneyland Park on Anaheim in the fall of 96. But here it was. They had brought it back and were running it through the streets of Manhattan. And Disney had persuaded every store along the parade route. And it came up 42nd Street and then made the turn on Fifth Avenue. And every single store and restaurant along the parade route agreed to dim its light except one.
Oh no!
Yep.
There's jerks.
Yeah, the Warner Brothers store. I think the Warner Brothers studio store. I think actually went out and bought extra lights. Anyway, that retail location closed in February of 2001 because, to be blunt, the folks at Warner Brothers felt that the rent that they were paying for this Fifth Avenue location was just far too high. And
That's karma, Jim.
Yeah.
Karma.
Well, no, what's interesting is there were folks at Disney who thought the very same thing, especially at a time when Disney was shutting down hundreds of Disney stores around the country. But Michael Eisner, who had grown up in New York City, I mean, he felt it was very important for the company that they keep the House of Disney open, if only for the bragging rights, for the prestige. But here's the thing. Michael Eisner steps down as the head of the Mouse House in September of 2005, and his replacement, Bob Iger, he wasn't much for bragging rights. He didn't place all that much importance on prestige. So to his way of thinking, Disney needed to be where the tourists were, and that was down in Times Square. Mm-hmm. So when a spot finally opened down there in the crossroads of the world, Disney then announced in August of 2009 it would not be renewing its lease on the Fifth Avenue location. And then in January of 2010, the House of Disney closed. And, well, now that the Times Square location opens just 9 months later on November 10th, 2010. Now, mind you, it's just half the size of the Fifth Avenue store. It's only 20,000 square feet. But interestingly enough, Lauren, it does twice the business that the previous location did. And again, it's the old rule of real estate: location. And more to the point, when you think about what's around it, I mean, across the street is where The Lion King has been playing for years at the Minskoff Theater. And then just down the street and around the corner, again, is the New Amsterdam, where Aladdin just celebrated its 10th anniversary on Broadway this March. And virtually on the same side of the street, right there in Times Square, is ABC's Times Square Studios, home to Good Morning America. So the confluence, when you think about the people who are killing time before they go see The Lion King, or have just come out of a matinee of Aladdin, or looky-looing at ABC's Times Square Studio, it's like, oh, look, the Disney store there. Let's go buy something.
It's just like in the parks, though. You have to exit through the gift shop.
There we go.
So it's like, here it is. Yeah, that was a great story. I really enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing. And I mean, I don't know. I like the nostalgia stuff. So, I mean, good on you for making more money, Disney, but I'd love to have seen the mansion.
Yeah, and let me tell one quick story about one particularly memorable village. We went there with our friends Brian and Diane Gennard. And I was explaining to them as we were walking up the street that, I mean, this is Disney's really, really, I mean, they spent all of this money, that it's their flagship. They have their very best employees who work there. And Brian goes, oh, that's interesting. And Brian then suddenly disappears in front of us. And so we walk into the store. And what's interesting is that every Disney employee, as we walk into the front door into the grand parlor, they go, Nancy, how lovely to have you back. And it's like literally 10 or more different employees in the store. Nancy, oh, we heard you were in town. How lovely. And it was like, and Nancy's kind of losing it because like, what the hell is going on? And what Brian had done was run ahead and go into the store, and every single Disney employee said, there's a lady who's coming. She's going to have this Letterman's jacket on. Her name is Nancy. Greet her by name. You're going to blow her mind. And the Disney employees immediately, yes, we will do that. We love to screw with tourists. So, but poor
Disney's motto: we love to screw with tourists.
There we go.
Love it. Well, listen, Jim. I think on that note, I think it's time to close up shop for today. What do you say?
I agree.
All right. So if you want to stay up to date with everything happening across the Jim Hill Media and Podcast Network, just make sure you're following along over on Facebook, Instagram, X. We post all the latest updates and news from all of our shows, so I promise you will not miss a thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and also, if you've got any questions or suggestions for future episodes of I Want That Too, we would love to hear from you. So you can reach out to us on social media or email us. I'm at Jim at Jim Hill Media, and Lauren can be found at Lauren at laurenhersey.com.
That's it. Well, thanks for listening, everyone, and we will see you next time on I Want That Too.